Well, hello everyone, my name is Jai, and man oh man do I have quite the adventurous video for you today. Now this video is going to be very different to what I usually would upload on this channel. Now I am going to an exhibition, however though it isn't in the state of Victoria, so you won't actually be seeing me take a bus or a train up to a exhibition. I actually flew to an exhibition this time, which I had never done before, so that's what I mean by this is not going to be your typical exhibition video, as I actually had to go to a whole different state to attend this exhibition. Now this is easily the furthest that I have ever gone to visit any exhibition. This is also the very first time that I had actually ever gone on any plane, and it's also the first time I've ever left the state of Victoria. So I have to say, being able to experience my first plane ride and also first time in a different state to an exhibition, I honestly had an absolute fantastic time, and I can definitely say that I would love to do this again in the future. Now this all started on the 25th and 26th of October of 2025. Me and a few club members went on a trip up to Sydney, where we visited the great train show that was being held at the Rosehill racecourse. Now because we did have to spend a night up at Sydney, we did get a motel known as the MERITON Suites. And I have to say, this was quite a fancy hotel. It had a beautiful room, and as well as that, a very nice view from the balcony as well, which you'll see later on in this video. But as far as the exhibition experience itself, of course, it was absolutely fantastic. I had a really great time at this exhibition. There were lots of amazing layouts and of course vendors at the exhibition. But unfortunately, if you know me, I wasn't able to get all of the layouts at the exhibition because of course there were just too many of them. I did try my best to get as many as I could, but I wasn't able to get all of them. Now I did end up getting quite a few vendors at the exhibition. However though, I think I'm going to do a separate video for the vendors, because if I do add the vendor section in this video, it's just going to go on for too long. So I'll make a separate video for that. So do stay tuned, because if you are interested in what vendors were there, I will have a separate video for you coming out for just the vendors. Now lastly, I am going to be doing some narration in this video, mainly just for the plane and for the hotel that we did stay at. So that's the reason why I'm going to do some narration in this video. But now we're going to go ahead and start this video at Avalon Airport, where we took a Jetstar A320 up to Sydney.
outdoors, thanks.
Alright everyone, so we have finally made it to Sydney. So after we got off our plane, we did get our luggage and made our way to the front of the airport where our taxi was waiting for us. And from there we drove all the way from the airport to the MERITON Hotel, which you can see in the background. After the taxi ride, we did make it to our destination, but before we did go to the hotel, we were quite hungry at this point, so we decided to go to a restaurant a few meters down called Beans and Barrels. Quite an interesting name. Anyway, once we got in there, we of course looked at the menu and chose the food we were going to have. I decided to go for good old classic chips and a scrumptious
hamburger.
Yeah, anyway, so after that scrumptious
hamburger,
we all booked into the hotel and we made our way up to our appropriate floors. I was on the
50th floor.
And we all got separate key cards, so that way we could access our rooms. Now the room I was in was 5001, and as you'll see, it is quite a beautiful room. So to start off, we have a small table with a fairly nice looking couch. We also did have a fairly nice looking TV, so we could watch TV later on. A pretty classic phone for room service. And we also had a small round table with a bowl of chips waiting for us when we entered our room. And here is the kitchen. So of course we do have a microwave as well as a sink. We also do have a kettle and coffee maker, and of course your coffee accessories. There was also a mini stove and a oven, which I got no doubt barely gets used, but still looks nice nonetheless. And here is the room I'll be staying in, which as you can see does look fairly nice. The bed definitely looks fairly comfy, and this room also had its own TV, which was pretty cool. Now just beside the bed we had an alarm clock, a remote, and also a lamp, just in case any of you guys are scared of the dark. And as well as that, this room also did have a fairly decent sized closet, as you can see. And we also got some coat hangers and a small bag where we could put our leftover towels in. And lastly, we have the bathroom. So of course, being a bathroom, you do have your towels, a sink, a massive mirror, a toilet, and as well as that, a fairly decent sized shower. Now here is the coolest part in my opinion about this hotel, and that is that we have an outdoor balcony. And as you can see, we definitely have quite the amazing view of Sydney. And if you look closely, you can see the CBD of Sydney, as well as a glimpse of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. But easily the best part about this view was the fact that you could actually see Harris train station. So because of the fact we had such a fantastic view, and of course being train fans, we did film some metro trains going through Harris station, as well as a unexpected XPT. here is the same view from the balcony at night, and as you can see folks, it looks absolutely amazing, especially with all those city lights. Alright everyone, I'm now going to get myself ready for bed. So far, I have had an absolute ball here in Sydney, and I am really looking forward to a big day tomorrow. So I'm now going to go ahead and get my beauty sleep, and I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Well everyone, it's now the moment that you've all been waiting for. Today is the day we're going to the Great Train Show. So we're going to start making our way down to the Rosehill Racecourse and visit the exhibition. So please sit back and relax and enjoy.
money's donated back in, so there's a second chance to win the Eureka Models prize. Purple, French Chicken, U9, and Austin Zoo, West Prime. Austin, thank you. The second prize is a State Rail Authority 81 class locomotive from a Sydney model. Go for models. Thank you very much. Go for models.
Well folks, that just wraps up our weekend here at Sydney. Straight after the exhibition finished, we did get a taxi straight back to Sydney Airport, and from there we got on our plane, headed back to Avalon. Now of course, after the exhibition I did end up getting a few items, so when I do get back at home, I'll show you everything that I did get at the exhibition. Alright everyone, I'm now finally back from the great train show up at Sydney, and of course I know all of you guys are dying to find out what I did end up getting at the exhibition. So of course I did end up getting quite a few things, mostly rolling stock and one locomotive. So to start off with, we have a SCT wagon. Now this is the only wagon that didn't come in a box, but as you can see it does look fairly nice. It is a little bit rough on some edges, and as you can see it does have a few stains, but overall it's not that bad. Now the second item was this. Now I'm not sure if this is the right box for it, but as you can see it is a Pacific National grain hopper. So this will be my first ever, well, grain hopper in Pacific National, and it was about $40, which again I have to say isn't really that bad, isn't it? So for the first few items, they're definitely pretty good bargains, I think. The wheels are a little bit stiff, so maybe a bit of lubrication will fix that up. I'm not sure if this is a custom paint job or not. It kind of looks like it is, that someone did paint this, but even if that is true, it doesn't look that bad. Next up, we've got some wagons from SDS. These ones are some Freight Australia 63-foot container wagons. You know, as you can see, yeah, they do look pretty nice, don't they? I do actually already have a free pack of these, another one, but I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with another free pack. And I am a pretty big fan of flatbeds and also Freight Australia, so I thought, why not? Next up, we've got a couple 4-pack tank wagons from SDS. Let's go and take out the top one. Well, first thing I'll say is that these are definitely pretty light. Oh, here we go. I've been actually meaning to get some of these tank wagons for a while. I'm actually quite thankful that they haven't sold out yet. But as you can see, we have a very nice logo of the Freight Australia, and have a lot of different labels. Of course, we've even got a little warning of what type of chemicals it's carrying. I'm pretty sure the 80 there is just probably like how many gallons it can have or something. I'm pretty sure someone in the comments might tell me. But yeah, you got lots of separately fitted detail parts everywhere. Yeah, it honestly does look very nice. And lots of underframe detail too. And here's a quick look at just the plain version. Obviously the only difference is the fact we don't have a Freight Australia logo on the side, but really apart from that, it is the exact same as you can see. Still, nonetheless, it does look very nice. So for this pack, because the other three are pretty much the same, I'll just go ahead and show you the white tank car from this pack. Bit of an interesting white livery, but once again, apart from the livery, it's pretty much the same. It's got all the same little stickers and all that stuff, plaques and handrails, bits of detail, all pretty much the same for the black. Well, that might be new. I'm not sure if the black tank cars had that. I'll have to check. Very, very highly detailed. So I think overall for $300 each, these aren't bad. So we've now made it to our final item, which is of course a locomotive. But would you believe me if I told you that this locomotive cost a little bit less than the SDS 4-car tank sets that we just looked at? Those were $300. This locomotive was only $295. And well, I'll go ahead and show you. It is of course the just newly secret released Precision Models 81 class locomotives. I honestly cannot believe the fact that this thing was only $295 from Precision. They are $395 though if you want them with DCC sound, but I just chose to get a DC variant because I already did review a couple DCC ones not too long ago. This one is 8148 and it has the "Are You OK" sticker on the side, and it is of course in the Pacific National. And well, here it is. Yeah, this is definitely quite heavy. I would say it's definitely a little bit more heavier than the SDS version. That is to probably be expected now. So of course, as you can see, we do have the "Are You OK" on the side there. And then we have, of course, my favorite, the massive number logo on the side. But I will say, there are definitely some clear, better tooling done than on the SDS one, such as the radiator fans. You know what? Let me go ahead and get one of my SDS Pacific National 81s out and we'll do a small comparison. So here is 8144, which is the SDS version, right next to the new Precision one. The main difference that I can definitely tell is on the grills, as I expected. So as you can see, you can obviously tell that the grills are a lot more better on the Precision one than the SDS. So as you can see on the left, 8144's numbers on the front are a lot more plain, doesn't have that dark lines around the numbers where 8148 does. I guess another difference I can tell though is if you look at the handrails in the front, you can see how this one's more plain silver, where this one is more white on the front. And here is a difference of underneath. But now I'll go ahead and find out how well the Precision one runs, and we'll see if there are any cab lights. I'm not going to be disappointed if there isn't, but I am still curious. And of course we'll see how it runs, make sure it does work properly. So let me go ahead and set up some track. Yeah, well, look at that, we do seem to actually have cab lights. So honestly, like I said folks, this was only $295. And yet look at what you get. Obviously I know with DCC you can function and, you know, do a lot more stuff with the lights, as well as turn the cab light on and off. There's a lot more you can do with the DCC variant, but even for just the DC, this is really cool to finally actually have some cab lights. So yeah, I have to say, folks, I'm very, very happy with everything that I got. Thankfully, nothing got broken during the flight home, so I am very thankful for that as well. And with that, everyone, that was everything I ended up getting at the Great Train Show up in Sydney. So, as I mentioned before, overall I'm very, very happy with all the stuff I ended up getting. As well as that, the exhibition itself was a really, really great exhibition. And for my very first time to ever be on a plane, and as well as into another state, being in Sydney, I had an absolute ball, and I couldn't have honestly asked for a better weekend. But overall, everyone, I do of course want to say a massive thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I hope to see you in my next one. So, take care for now, everyone, and I will see you hopefully next time. Bye bye.